Hello Bitzbox, this is Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk here, and this video is a little bit different for the channel. So in this video I have 3D printed my ship from Starfield. I found some files for the ship online, which I will link down in the description below. And yeah, it's all the ship builder parts, so exactly the same as what they are in the game. So I've made one of my custom ships and 3D printed it, and yeah, I think it's a really cool project. It's been good fun to do. I've been doing this project over the last few weeks, so I apologise there's a lack of continuity, as I've had a haircut since I started this project. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So of course the first thing you think any normal person would do is go onto Starfield and start taking their ship apart in the ship builder and write down all of the individual little pieces they have. But of course I didn't do that, I just went straight in with printing, and I printed off a load of generic stuff that I knew my ship would need, such as habs and fuel tanks, engines, and other little pieces in resin that I knew was already on the ship. But now, back with the old pen and paper, I need to take this apart and write down exactly what I need so I can print the rest of it. So then it was a case of doing several print runs, some in resin and some in PLA, until I had all the pieces together, which I put in a couple of these large Warhammer boxes. And then it's just a case of just gluing it all together. So using the game, of course, as a reference. And I started with the pieces around the back, just behind the cockpit, and just gluing everything together with super glue. Now in hindsight, and we'll mention this again later in the video I believe, it would have been easier if I'd have sort of merged a lot of these digitally and just printed them as larger pieces. So there's a lot of small pieces that are together. So I was very worried about how stable this would all be once it's all together. So I got a large round base and decided to put the ship on that in the end. Okay, so yeah, I've gone with the base idea. Had this round black base that I was going to use for another project a long time ago and just never ever finished it, obviously, as projects tend to go. I can always buy another one if I ever go back to that project. So yeah, sitting on there, it's all glued on. I've got some of the little details on. Okay, so yeah, granted, not everything looks completely straight. Again, this is what happens if you don't digitally merge them together. So yeah, for anyone looking to do this yourselves, merge as much together that will fit on your printer's build plate, and then you won't have all these little lines. That said, these are modular ships built in the game with all these individual pieces, so a part of me likes that you can see each of the individual build pieces as well. So swings and roundabouts there, but I'm still worried how the engine's going to go on the back, because that is going to be overlapping, and the little land and bay thing will overlap as well. We've also got some other bits that are coming off, so it will overlap a little bit out here, so hopefully that'll all be strong enough. But yeah, it's a bit more solid now, and it should be easier to paint. I don't know what I'll do with the base. I'll probably just end up painting it black. I'm going to end up getting spray paint and whatnot all over it, no doubt. So yeah, alright, it's starting to look a bit like a ship. So yeah, as you can see, it does stick out the base at the front, and it will do at the back as well. So I thought I'd just film a little bit of footage for the back. So what I have, some engines. So here I've got two small engines there. Now the engines I'm using aren't the same as what my ship has in the game. I did upgrade them to better engines, but I really like the look of these ones, and I'm thinking these are going to have to just sit on the bottom. On the game they are up here, but for weight of these, they're just not gonna sit at all. They're gonna struggle to sit on here, I think. Luckily they'll be on the base a little bit, and yeah, they're gonna go on there like so. And then we also have, again, something else that might go on the bottom. The reactor, which again is up here on my ship, but I think, I don't know. It's gonna have to sort of go down there, isn't it? I don't really like how that looks in particular, but hey ho, that's how it is. So yeah, I've got all that glued in place, find something to prop it all up with. And obviously the weight doesn't matter now that we're on a base, so it doesn't matter that this is all really heavy as long as it just stays in place. So next up are a couple of pieces that I'm really sort of nervous about printing, and that's the Nova braces, which you can see have very small pieces on them, but I'm happy to say that they've all printed fine, and yeah, they look really sweet. So they're going to go there, and then so the design has my fuel tanks like so attached to the braces, so just maybe use your imagination that the fuel lines run either down or through the braces. But yeah, they look pretty cool on there. I think actually, did they go? Yeah, they're probably more that way, which makes a lot more sense. So they will go on there like that. And the other piece that was really daunting is the radiators on the front, and I did try and print some and they were just a bit of a crumbly mess, so I've gone into 3D Builder and just added some solid parts underneath them, so hopefully they'll print a lot more solid. So I'll get these glued on, and then hopefully we'll have some radiators to attach to this as well. A couple more weapons that I've just printed as well, and I think in terms of building we will be done. And you join me now as I get the last piece on. So I managed to get the radiators just about printing, but they were the worst pieces from this whole build to print for sure. And that even includes these, which weren't too bad in the end actually, and they're really solid. And yeah, the whole ship is pretty solid as well. I'm not going to bash it too hard though, just in case, but it seems pretty good on this base. I'm glad I did put it on the base. Makes handling it a lot easier. And yeah, there's the full build. And you might notice I accidentally put this bit on upside down, which is a bit annoying, but never mind. And yeah, I mean, you can see print lines and you can see gaps, but you can also see that it is my ship. A couple of minor differences, but it's my ship and it's so cool. And yeah, oh, I'm really happy with how it's turned out actually. Obviously, as I've mentioned, there are things I would do differently. I would definitely start combining pieces, and it would just make the whole thing even quicker to build and print as well. But, you know, for a first go, it's pretty cool. So I'm not going to show too much of a painting process. There's not a great deal to it really. It's going to be mostly white with blue accents and then the metal pieces. So yeah, I'm going to go and paint that, and then I'll show you the final result. And here we have the finished result. So not my best paint job by a long shot. Yeah, never again am I going to print in red something that I want to be a different colour. There's a few layers of white, about 4 layers just to get that white. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the video, but I just printed the PLA stuff in red because I've got a lot of red left, and it was already in the printer, and I weren't sure if I had enough white to do it, and I just couldn't be bothered to buy any more, and I couldn't even be bothered to change from red to white, so I just printed it in red, and yeah, probably a bit of a mistake there. I mean, there's a lot of things I would do differently. As I said before, I would certainly merge a lot of the pieces digitally, and then you wouldn't have so many of these lines, but I'm not too fussed about that. I just wanted to make something what was looked like my ship from Starfield, and I have. It's just not the best paint job I'll ever do. White is a bit of a crappy colour to paint at the best of times. I didn't want to put a wash on the white because it'll bring out all the layer lines and stuff. So I sort of went with just sponging on a lot of sort of battle damage. I mean, I don't really know what battle damage would look like too much on a spacecraft. You wouldn't have like mud and stuff on it, but I sort of gone with like blacks and silvers to represent. I suppose you'd get like, if it's hit into like little asteroids or something, I don't know, space debris. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's made it a little bit more interesting. I do really like the turquoise accents on there. I tried to match them up with the ship as much as possible. And then I've gone like for brassy colour on the radiators. And then yeah, just with the silver, I've literally just painted it all lead belcher with a black wash, and then a little bit of a dry brush with a lighter silver, which doesn't really get picked up too well on the camera here. And then just painting on the windows in black. These ones could probably do with an extra coat, but it is what it is. I think it looks alright. Definitely okay from a distance. So, try not to look too close at it, but, you know, it's my ship from Starfield, and I think that's pretty cool that I've just managed to print that using the exact same pieces that I used in the game. I think whoever made these available for print, you are a legend. It's really cool. Probably won't be the only ship I do, but I'm certainly not going to do any time soon. But it was good fun. But yeah, if you are printing them yourself, just be mindful of all these little spindly bits. This is printed at 50% of what the files are. I mean, it would be absolutely huge if I printed it at full scale, and I'll probably still be printing stuff now. So yeah. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's been a fun project. It's definitely something different. I have no idea where I'm going to put the bloody thing, but yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I just printed my ship from Starfield. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, then please do feel free to give it a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. And all that's left to say is I'll see you again in the next video.